And we should be live. Just waiting for YouTube to catch up. Good. There we go. I have 2 of Chris on my screen, which is bizarre. I hope no one else has 2 of Chris. 1 frozen, 1 in motion. That's a bit interesting. Welcome to the Dark Goddess Ritual Rite of the Valkyries for this month, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to read us in with my Valkyrie channeling from Songs of Shades, the 1st edition. And we're going to have some drumming. We're going to have some ritual. We're going to pull a card. We're going to talk about rebirth, rewilding, the sharp edges, all of that stuff. So welcome to the Dark Goddess Ritual for the Valkyrie. I ask everybody to take a deep breath, focus your energy, and breathe out. Take a deep breath, focus your energy, and breathe out. And one last time, take a deep breath, focus your energy, and out. Valkyrie. Singing to the lost, that is the thing. I am not a shining beacon. I do not guide. Thudding black wings foretelling death, blood-weaving entrails, blood-soaked prophetic weaving, what entails within those entrails? A savage lust. You would demote us, sanitize us, saw down our vicious edges. Battle stance to nothing, a lover's grip. We are befallen, we are fate and death. We are the bone jaw snapping closed. A heavy gurgle of man's last utterance. Nothing so frail. Wingless you would make us, break us, torment us. We are befallen. We are fate and death. Welcome everybody to the Dark Goddess Rite. Hello. You see 2 of Chris. Well, then you have double your pleasure.
It should have solved itself by now. My browser crashed just as you went live, so I had to come back.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but it went away on my end, so it should be okay now.
So I thought, given the prophetic nature of Valkyries, we could draw a card for everybody. Do you want to draw a card for everyone as well, Chris?
Sure.
And I said we would use the Threads of Fate deck, which is my new Oracle deck, and we will shuffle and pull a card for everybody and look at the propheticness of that. We'll set some tone with some energy reading. You were enjoying 2 of Chris. Well, there you go. Double your fun, double your pleasure. We've only just started.
The world ain't ready.
Well, ain't ready. Wow. You're not late. You missed me and my poem, but that's about all you missed. You're good. We're going to pull some cards, get this ritual started in propheticness. I'm going to drum. We're going to sing. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to throw cards at the floor because apparently that's a thing. I mean, I will. Do you want that one or do? No. Okay. Right. Let's divide the deck. Welcome, 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 everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I got the Capricorn card, just so everyone knows. Right. And now I've got to find you in the booklet, which makes no sense to me, so it might take me a minute. Did you want to go first, Chris?
Sure. Okay. So I'm using the Wisdom Keepers Oracle deck, which is basically like my soul deck at this point. Anyone who has sessions with me also refers to it as like the devil deck, if you will, because anytime I pull it out, they're like, oh no.
The truth telling is about to happen. Yeah.
It is yes, the truth is strong with this one. Interesting. We just had this one the other day, Joey, for What the Flux. I feel like either that or maybe it's the one that comes up for my Patreon. I saw you recently, though. So all of these are numbered, which is helpful. And they have a keyword on the bottom. But the main thing about these that I love is that when you look closely, the entire, like the planes of their face and their outfit and everything is made up of symbols. So I'm going to get this kind of close and hopefully it'll start focusing in on things. Come on. I believe in you. You can do it. So there's like lotuses, there's eyes, there are feet. Yeah, there we go. There's swirls on the planes of the cheeks. Looks like a sort of a labyrinth pattern on the chin. So number 28, all of these come with a quote, and there's sort of a story that goes along with it. I won't read the story because it's longer. And there is a blurb, and then it follows up with a few questions to ponder on. So when I read these questions, I want you to just kind of take that energy throughout this ritual and ponder those questions, like take that into the space with you. Okay. So the quote is, there is a deep sense of thrill that comes as you progressively face your inner demons. The gift is totality, the shadow is purposelessness, and the siddha, I think it's pronounced, is immortality, which is kind of like the healing energy. It says, my gift to you. It is time to stop postponing your life and to embrace the entirety of it. The pain as much as the pleasure. I bring you the gift of totality. I ask you to surrender yourself entirely to life's mysteries. In this moment, close your eyes. Be still. Listen with ever-widening ears. If possible, move willingly towards the dark. You will soon discover that your demons are only divine messengers in disguise. As you wholeheartedly make friends with adversity, you will find yourself feeling increasingly unfettered. When you are no longer afraid of death, you will finally be free to do what you've come here to do. Leave an eternal mark on this planet with the golden ink of your heart. To be alive is to be here, now, fully. That is all. This is also known as one of the hell cards for me, because obvious. Questions for contemplation are, is there an inner demon you've been refusing to face? Are you constantly in motion? Do you engage in risky behavior in order to escape from how you feel inside? Are you terrified of being still? If so, what are you scared of? Are you forever looking for your life purpose? Do you know what it is, but can never follow through? When was the last time you felt deeply aligned with your purpose or connected to the totality of existence? And the last one is usually an activity of some sort, and I love this one. Write your own eulogy. Find a creative way to honor your own immortality. Share what you write with someone you love. So for a Valkyrie rite, this has a lot of like battle facing things, being in the moment, embracing it kind of energy behind that. So I honestly think that this is a perfect card to pull going into this.
Prophetic about death too, so the eulogy thing works really well with regards to what do you want your life to stand for before the moment of incarnate death.
Yeah.
So the card that I pulled is Take Risk, and it's the Capricorn card. It's the goat going up the mountain that can't be stopped. And you can see there are layers of mountains. There are mountains that are crystals in the foreground. There are mountains in the back. There's the gold shine. It's absolutely stunning. And this card dropped out earlier. And so I'm going to read to you from the meaning. I'm still not familiar with these cards' meaning. They're brand new, but it's in the fire section. And seeing as we've passed into Aries energy, that's nice. Risks are personal to each one of us. To some, climbing a mountain doesn't feel risky. To others, having a conversation with a stranger does. What has been calling you that you have been afraid to do? Comfort kills growth. This is the Threads of Fate Oracle deck. Comfort kills growth, which I was saying yesterday to somebody, so that's interesting. It is important that we are regularly doing things that push our envelope, that make us feel nervous, apprehensive, and uneasy, with the exception of physical danger. This card is asking you to take the plunge and do the thing that intimidates you. Trust that the net will appear after the jump. The mountain goat can jump 12 feet between ledges, scale steep mountainsides, over 60-degree slopes, pull themselves up inclines with one hoof, and can climb over 1,500 feet in 20 minutes. They teach us that all challenges are relative and that risk often seems greater in our heads. We may impress ourselves with how easy something is once we take the leap. Call upon Mountain Goat when you need help tapping into your bravery as you embrace risk. The card also has images of stinging nettle, although I didn't see stinging nettle in the image, but it's there apparently. Stinging nettle is a plant with an abundance of medicine. It is one of the most nourishing and healing plants there is. The majority of people, whether plant folk or not, are aware of nettle due to the fact that it stings when you touch it. It has tiny hollow hairs on the leaves, and when you touch it, the little hairs inject a fluid to irritate their attacker. But if you are willing to take the risk of harvesting this amazing plant, you may find its amazing medicine. Stinging nettle guides us out of the fog and into a life that we find invigorating. It teaches us that once we get past the initial discomfort, the risk can be incredibly nourishing. Fire agate, was also featured within the card, helps us restore our lust for life. Approximately 24 million years ago, volcanic activity in the now southwest US led to hot water saturated with volcanic material filling the cracks underground. If you have become worn down and stuck in a routine, fire agate helps find the cracks and brings new life to them, which is so hell. It's not even funny right now. Call on fire agate to literally fire yourself up and stimulate your body as you take on challenges. So this has a memento mori feeling, and I've just realized that CRIS has disappeared. Can everyone else? I'm guessing the internet died again. Did your browser die again?
Yeah. So, I took the opportunity while I was there to restart the internet thing real quick on the computer and stuff to see if maybe that'll help things.
So the general feeling of this particular card is of memento mori. It is about bringing fire to the cracks of liminality that exist within you. It is finding the places where you are not comfortable and finding growth within these spaces. This is very much a live before this incarnation is over. Because being in a comfortable space is a way to monotony, is a way to not experiencing who you're meant to grow into. And growth is rarely comfortable. As we're talking about rebirth in particular with regards to Valkyrie energy, the ending of one thing and the beginning of another, the rewilding, the rebirthing, the stepping into your power, this seems to work quite well. And knowing that you can overcome all odds, having faith in yourself, not allowing a mountain to get in your way, not allowing the mountain in your mind to get in your way. For as an earth sign, I can totally appreciate the idea that something is always worse in our minds than it actually is when we do it. So there we go. That is the divination for everybody. I invite everybody to kind of sit with some of the lessons, the questions that CRIS asked from her truth-telling oracle deck, and the energies from the Threads of Fate.
Truth-telling oracle deck, aka Wisdom Keepers, for those of you who are actually looking for the deck.
Shall we have some drumming?
Yes.
So I've borrowed a friend's drum because I don't currently own one. This is her drum. It's a deep red, which may not show up on the camera, and it's like an egg. So it kind of fits really well with regards to the energy of the rebirthing, of the cracking of the egg.
It's shaped more like a Sami drum from what I usually see.
Okay. Okay. So as we sit here in the middle of the energy of this particular ritual, I invite you all to connect to the energies around us. And I thought, if it's all right with CRIS, I would talk about a lesson that has come to me over the process of the 6 months of healing that I've been going through, but I was reminded of it again today. And in some ways, it's cutting the threads to the person that I don't want to be, mistakes of the past, who I want to be rebirthed into. And that is something that I've struggled with, perhaps over the years, that sometimes it is better to be kind than it is to be right. And this is something that as a Virgo is a bit of a struggle, because Virgos, they like to be right. I like to be right. Hi, orb, down the center of my face. I like to be right. I like to know the truth of a situation. I like to have the measure of something, to see the patterns underneath, to know where the truth is. And sometimes in a search and a seeking for truth, we become too wrapped up in the idea of truth as supremacy, perhaps. And sometimes it's better to be kind. It's better to lend empathy to where people are at, even if you don't agree with them. That doesn't mean taking on everybody's shit. It doesn't mean becoming a doormat. It definitely means still having boundaries, but it also means considering the other individual. I'm in a process of writing a piece for my blog, which is called Sisterhood is Not Blind, which is the flip side of things, which is that often sisterhood is touted as something to stand by others, particularly women in this case, but Chris and I like to flux it up when it comes to regards to female and masculine. That a lot of people sort of cite sisterhood as a reason to support women in everything they do. And I don't think that's true. I think sometimes sisterhood is calling your sister out. Sometimes it's holding space for them. Sometimes it's not advising them at all. But sometimes it is telling them, I don't agree, or I don't feel that this is a good path for you, or let me play devil's advocate for a moment. And in that process of thinking about it, I was thinking about how, in particular, women support women they know, regardless of the situation. So one example would be cheating. That women who know say the mistress, let's use the terminology very loosely, but just so you guys know what I mean. Women who know the mistress will support the woman, and they'll say the wife is a bitch. She just treats him badly. You know, you're not doing anything wrong. And then they don't consider the wife, her feelings, her place. And then the people who know the wife will make out that the mistress is some kind, is a demon, is preying on the married man. And something that I've noticed in those situations is it's often woman versus woman, and culpability for everybody is not found. But sometimes it is up to us in our journey of sisterhood to tell the truth to each other and hold each other to a place of compassionate, truth. And it doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be vicious. It doesn't have to be vile, and it shouldn't be. But sometimes we have to hold ourselves to that measure too. And this process, this looking at this energy, has been helping me with the rebirth of who I am as a human being, as a woman, but as a human being. Because those things have been the lesson, some of the hard lessons of wanting to be better in future and do better and not judge. Have boundaries, but not judge. Thank you. So if anyone else wants to share, by the way, you are welcome to do so at any given point. If you want me to read and for Chris and I to read and respond to that, we can. Speaking truth, even at the risk of being unpopular. And sometimes we have to measure that, though. Sometimes we have to be kind rather than be right, because there is a line, there is a fluxy sort of moving or weaving river between kindness and truth. And I think it is best to navigate the river rather than always choosing one. Because there's no point being kind if it's not truthful, because down the line that's just going to hurt you and other people. It's no point being truthful if you can't be kind with it, because then it's just hurting people for the sake of it. So there's a balance between the two. And that is one of the life lessons. And the Valkyrie do bring in warrior energies and memento mori energies of making sure you live before you die. And this has been a big life lesson for me in particular. So if anyone else would like to share, I invite you to do so. If not, I can move on to a little spell work for everybody.
The thing that you were just talking about with choosing kindness and instead of being right reminds me of the comment or the quote, a mind all logic is like a knife all blade. It makes the hand bleed that uses it.
Mm. And that's quite Valkyrie in keeping.
Mm-hmm. It's a balance.
And sometimes Valkyrie energy is very much about sacrifice as well. Sacrifice is a big energy that often comes through with Valkyries, about the parts of ourselves that we sacrifice in the pursuit of who we are becoming. And sometimes when we become too fixated, we sacrifice things that we should not be sacrificing, energies within ourselves that we shouldn't be losing. And that's what happens when we lose kindness. It's one of the most powerful things in the world. And it reminds, it's the geisha quote, the memoirs of a geisha. None of us see as much kindness in this life as we should. So what we radiate, what we choose to be, how we choose to live is the measure of us.
Well, there's a lot of power in choice right there, isn't it? There's a lot of choices that are instantaneously made on a battlefield that make who you are, that make your story, that change the fate of the battle.
Reading American Gods has taught me that when we give too much of ourselves, we become no longer ourselves. I've come to understand the friend who hurt me, who stopped talking to me, was in a very bad place and may be there. Never, if we ever speak again, I hope she will be happy.
Yeah.
I've had a lifelong feeling that I've merely existed instead of living, like a ghost. Past life reading expressed the same for one of my past lives. You know what you want, but you can't seem to get there. That's okay. I don't agree with the person who gave you that reading. To fill you with a sense of you can't find what it is that you're seeking, I invite you to sit with your energy and not think of yourself in terms of what you have achieved or what you might achieve or what you might be, but rather sit in your energy of who you are. Remind yourself of the battles you have fought and overcome. Remind yourself of your experiences and all that you have gleaned and gained and measured. Many of us feel that we do not connect with our deeper purpose, and we sometimes live in a world that feels soulless, but it is a perception, and we can choose to be the change in the world instead, and we can choose to be the change for ourselves. Because I understand feeling disconnected because the world seems cruel and sad and empty. But this is your life, your choice, your expression, and you are still here, still fighting, still experiencing.
Yeah, it's your world too.
Yeah.
It's another part of that.
And no one gets to tell you that you didn't achieve, that you didn't experience exactly what you needed to experience. I don't agree with that at all. That's irresponsible. So it's your blade, wield it. It can be difficult. It can be difficult, but I want Chris to read what you just said about glass.
It feels a lot like there's impenetrable glass separating you, something in the way. I'm just now adjusting to the idea that I have power over my reality. It's very tricky.
Mirrors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the podcast and stuff, we've been focusing on Hell a lot, and Hell is my main matron, and she works very heavily with mirrors and the idea of this separation thing not actually being that, it being instead a wholeness, and the jagged edges are also just part of us. The walls that we bump up against are just as much a part of us, and we can shift them when we realize that. We can start to build them in other places if we want. But if we want, you know. But the impenetrable glass is something that is see-through for a reason. It's trying to show you something. And most of the time, it's a mirror that's trying to show you you.
And that's, yeah, exactly. That's where the mountain goat energy comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Fear of a thing is often far worse than doing the thing itself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is something I've had to overcome time and time and time again, and I will keep doing it, I'm sure, because Morrigan. And honestly, the way that we tell ourselves these stories in our own heads about how terrible things are going to be is rarely the case. And we can utilize that too. We can be prepared for the worst, should the worst ever happen, by telling ourselves those stories if we choose to, rather than getting in our own way. If you want to, I have a blog post all about Medusa. I love Medusa's energy. If you head on over to Starry-Eyed Supplies on the blog and type in Medusa, it will come up. Or it might be like the snake mask or the serpentine mask. Actually, it might be the Gorgon mask. If you type in Gorgon, it will come up in Starry-Eyed. Yeah. You'll never know if you don't take that risk. I think that's actually worse. Living with not knowing because you didn't try, for me at least, is worse. Those are the things that haunt you. The risks you didn't take. The times you didn't try. Because what's the worst that could happen? When we were children, this is a theme in the last couple of weeks, by the way. When we were children, we were, for the majority of us, a lot more fearless. We teared about, we tried things, we climbed things, and if we fell down and scraped ourselves, we might cry for a bit, but then we get up and we carry on. And I was wondering to myself the other day, when exactly did I lose that? Knowing that the worst could happen is that I would fall down and I have to try again. Now, my childhood is riddled with other problems, but still. Okay, I like to be kind. I do my best. The people I work with are younger than me and see it as weakness. I disagree. I don't buy into their idea of strong acting like an aggressive man.
So the idea of strength and battle and fighting and all of that has been definitely one to wrap my head around. Because I tend to be someone who is like, well, let's look at both sides and da-da-da, where, you know, like that happens a lot. So that fire energy sometimes is hard to embrace, but it's also sometimes to figure out how you fight. Not everyone fights the same way. And, you know, it's kind of like weapons. Some people fight with a sword, some with a bow, you know, some with a bokken. They're all different. And they're all adjusted accordingly, right? You wouldn't fight with a sword how you fight with a bokken, unless you got a really long sword, but that's beside the point. I probably wouldn't hold it in the middle either. But double sword? Oh, double sword. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, what I'm saying is that everyone has their own way of fighting, and what is a weapon to you and a weapon to them can be entirely different as well.
And warriors are not the only people on the battlefield.
Absolutely.
Warrior.
Well, and here's the thing: is there's warrior in a lot of different senses, right?
Yeah.
Like that medic rushing around trying to find everyone is fighting their own battle.
Mm-hmm. There are healers, and honestly, healers are sometimes some of the more badass people on the blooming field because they're running out to help people without a sword in their hand, or, you know, equivalent. There are, in ancient times, there were the bards at the beginning with the drums and the beating, and like, this is why I wanted the drum, because they led the procession. And there is a story of I've forgotten what his name is, but it became legend that there was one bard who, once he rushed into battle, everyone else rushed in, and he basically filled the hearts of everyone else with the courage to fight and do what they must. And without him and his sacrifice, which again is very Valkyrie in its energy, there would have been no victory. And I think for me, that's really interesting because fire is where I live. There are so many people right now who are like, fire is the hardest element for me. So technically on top, I'm on top. Da-na-na-na-na. I'm all earth. Da-na-na-na-na. But underneath, I'm all fire sign. Hello. And so for
there
me,
are so many possible jokes that I could make right now. And
pick one.
Hills and valleys, fires and furnaces. Carry on.
Da-na-na-na. Here in Chris's dungeon. Anyway, that's where I am right now. I'm downstairs underneath Chris in the dungeon. That's what's actually happening. No. I'm a Virgo with an Aquarius rising and a Sagittarius moon. Well, I'm a Virgo with a Virgo rising and a Taurus moon, but all my underplanets are fire. And fire is where I live. I love it. When we moved into Aries energy, I was like, yes, finally.
I mean, I definitely felt the shift into Aries. I have a Leo rising, but it's kind of balanced out by my Cancer moon and my Cap sun. So I have earth, water, fire. So air is usually the one where I'm like, nope, I can't tag out.
Air is the one I have problems with because I have almost no air in my chart, almost none. And it's like, yes.
Real quick, first of all, Draven, Claymore swords are known for being remarkable for cutting pound cake, for the record. We did that once, my family. That happened. There are pictures. It's completely overkill. Speaking of a Leo rising.
Oh my god.
It was brilliant. We were in a hotel room, we had pound cake, we had no way to cut it, and our friend goes, I've got my claymore in the trunk, and we go, bring out the claymore!
So this is the most Leo rising thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. And as for the question of anything about hell, in terms of stuff, yes, there is blog posts at my website. There are the podcast, What the Flux podcast that Joey and I do.
Draven's linked the podcast, so thank you for that, Draven.
Thank you. Yes. So there's a bunch on it out there. And then also my Patreon. I talk about her. So
was there any cake left?
Well, not now. It's been years. I hope not. You don't want any of that. That would be nasty.
I feel like at the time.
There was plenty of cake. It made a very nice slice. It was a very controlled cut. We just used the tip. Just the tip.
God. It's going to be this kind of podcast. Hills and valleys and just the tip.
You started it.
Always. Triple Earth. I'm a Triple Earth. But, okay, I struggled with connecting to my Virgo-ness. Oh, girl, we can talk about this. I can help you. I'm a Chaos Virgo. Right, because I was raised to be safe and stuck at home and never fostered. Independence.
Well, but that's another thing, too, is that people always think that, like, whatever their main ones are is all that they are. But, like, zodiac signs get really in-depth. Like, astrology gets extremely in-depth. And like that pinpoint of where you were born and where everything was when you were born gets really, really intricate. And as a result, like just labeling ourselves like I'm not necessarily a normal Capricorn either.
Draven, stop it.
But you know, there are different variances underneath of that umbrella that always happen. And so, you know, no one's ever going to be 100%. I could meet someone with a very similar chart and we would still be different.
Plus, it's not a definitive guide to who you are. I mean, it definitely has some interesting observations and some different patterns and things, but astrology is not the entire measure of you. What?
Chaos Crow, Scorpio, Leo Moon, Cancer Rising. Ooh. Do you want to like eat ice cream together? Like, and people watch?
That sounds amazing.
Like, that would be a thing.
I mean, I kind of want to watch them paint or do something creative, but I also kind of want to watch them lose their temper because I think that might be interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, it all plays into the idea of who you are and who you are becoming, and rebirth and rewilding and all that stuff. So I was like, did we get to astrology? But yeah, that makes sense. So remember, it's not the entirety of you, even though it is fascinating. I think it's interesting. I will say from a Virgo point of view, and this happens to a lot of the earth signs, we get such a ridiculously negative overview a lot of the time from a lot of people are like, oh yeah, earth signs, they're boring. Do you know what? Whoever is the person who keeps writing that Virgos like bleach can go fuck themselves, because I hate cleaning. I hate it.
I, on the other hand, really like cleaning. I love the smell of bleach.
No.
It's very therapeutic for me. It's very meditative.
I am a chaos Virgo. I like the creative chaos that follows me. And actually being a creator and creatrix is something that I've been walking into a lot and looking at what that means to me. So I'm going to say this as we talk about what we're basically talking about is the labels that we give ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And so there are uses to them, but there are limitations to them too. So do not become defined by the labels that you put onto yourself.
And this is another instance of those cracks, those see-through separation walls, like actually being you. So the limitations that are placed on you most of the time are you, because you know, if you go with your gut, or a lot of times too, we'll place things on ourselves that we don't even place on other people. Like it's a double standard in reverse. And that often happens.
Would you like for me to do a meditation with you guys right now to sit in your own power? Would that be helpful for you? I can do that with a little drumming, because we haven't done the spell work for today yet, so I can change what I was going to do. Should we do that? We did ritual work like this last time, so I can do that. By the way, our rituals are not just purely ceremonial. They are a little bit more talkative and intuitive, because that's how we like to do these. One day we might do like a proper ceremonial just to throw you all off one day.
I mean,
but you know.
Honestly, it's how I grew up. Like, because for those of you who don't know, I'm hereditary. So how we grew up was you got in circle, but the point wasn't to get in there and like do something, like craft a thing or blah, blah, blah. The point was to get in there and to talk
and connect,
to commune, not only with each other, but with, you know, each other, if you will. And to feel that. So it was actually extremely conversational. It was very communal.
Okay, so what we'll do is I want everyone to just relax, and I'm gonna gently beat the drum. Okay, and we're gonna look at the rite of just to be, just to connect, just to be in our power. So I want everyone to relax. We're gonna wiggle a bit again, like we did last month. Oh, last month, it was 2 weeks ago. So have a wiggle, have a shoulder roll. I feel dirty again.
But in your seat,
I feel like
see, that's all you this time. I didn't even do it.
Well, you know, all that under Leo. And just, there's a lot of pain in the lower back today, guys. So whoever
some of that might be me too.
Okay. So just roll the backs a little bit. We're just getting comfortable in our skin. And I know it feels a bit weird, but we're all doing it together. We're all being weird on the internet. That's how it is. WYRD, weird. Okay, there we go. So
shake it off, shake it off.
Right, I'm going to invite you all to just listen into the sound of yourself. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes now and just listen to the drum as if it was a heartbeat, and I'm going to do my best to mimic a heartbeat. You okay?
Yes. I'll also add too, because I just saw this. As you're listening to the drum, if you find yourself on a note, on a hum, on a vibration, don't be afraid to hum it or sing it. Drum with us on your leg, whatever is next to you, whatever you want, your own beat even. Don't worry about being in sync with it.
Okay.
There is no in sync.
Don't start. I will sing and sync and ruin it for everybody. Okay. Right.
Ba, ba, ba.
I heard that song today as well. Right. Just ruin it, Chris. Just take it to the bye 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 bum bum.
Someone needed a Leo rising. Crash again. Okay.
Okay. Humor is good though. Humor is good, right? Listen to who you are. See the measure of you. Feel who you are underneath. Treasure your memory. Value your experience. See your colors as they weave into one. Hear your name and the sense of you. Feel who you are underneath. Fret not about destiny, for you are where you're meant to be. Trust. Fret not about destiny, for you are where you're meant to be. Trust. Fear not this mortal skin, for it's just the vehicle you're in. You are more, not less. You are progress. You're the artist and the canvas. The design is your own. You are who you're meant to be. Don't worry about destiny. Sit in your power. From you, all change is possible. From you, all destiny is manifest. You are the nexus of your own creation. So create, be, sing, speak, and fear not the endless void, for you are made of stardust. You are so noble. You are made of earth. You are so humble. You need not be afraid. Let your power rise up from your base, from your center. Pull your energy through yourself, high up into yourself, and know yourself for the badass warrior that you are. And deep breath into yourself. And come back to yourself and breathe out. Deep breath into yourself. Come back to yourself and breathe out. Deep breath into yourself. Come back to yourself and breathe out. Yes, I will answer some of the questions that came up as we were doing that, but Liz has already answered that. You can use astro.com for your birth chart. You can get free natal charts online. You are welcome. I hope that helped. So let me answer some of the questions, or Chris can take some questions. Let's see what we've got. Hey, Chris. Other Chris. The question about protecting yourself, Chris and I have 2 full videos, both on this, I think one's on this channel and one's on Chris's channel, about protection magic.
Yeah, well, there's a playlist. If you search Chris and Joey, like Chris and the symbol Joey, it should come up as a playlist. It's like Chris and Joey Fluxiness. And in that playlist, there are the 2 videos listed.
The protection ones. But I will say, like, trauma can lead to energy clinging around you. So firstly, I would recommend that you have a good deep cleanse of your home and yourself. Bathing is the easiest way to cleanse yourself, but also sound
also helps.
Yeah.
Like certain foods that cleanse you, or a ton of water. Like, number 1 question I ask as a mentor: are you drinking enough water? Because it sounds really basic,
but it works.
But it helps immensely.
And then if you can't fit, if you're not in a good place to protect yourself, get yourself some obsidian.
Or whatever protection stone really pulls you to, because some people like obsidian, some people use jet, some people use jasper. Hematite is another one. Like, it's, feel them out.
So sapphire, there's a lot coming around what you're saying right now, which is basically that you don't trust yourself. So there is a energy of learning to trust who you are. Yeah, black tourmaline is the shit for protection too. Good call, Stella. Good call. If you're going to use, by the way, if you're going to use a heavy black crystal, maybe look at selenite as well to balance. So you have a light dark balance, like a banish, but also a drawing in positive energy. So filling that space with good protective energies too.
It's essentially making yourself into a pillar. Grounds and extends.
So
that's my favorite combo.
Yeah.
Is like crystal and hematite, because it does the same thing.
I saw an eagle at dusk or dawn in the meditation. That's the second time dawn has come up today. So there's a whole new life waiting for us on the other side of rebirth. And duality witch. Is it weird that I felt color? Lime green, full of emotions. Never had that before. Well, maybe lime green's your color, lady.
Yeah, she did say feel your colors.
Iron for protection too, says Chris. Very good call. Iron is nice, especially if you're dealing with spirits.
Yes. Well, I used to threaten the fairies in my mom's house with iron all the time, and it worked very well. I do not recommend that as a method, however.
I like how you back that up real quick.
You take the risk into your own hands. I was prepared to accept the damage.
I saw myself projecting grey smoke out of my hand with the drum beat and receiving something with the left. Nice. Wonderful. In a book on Norse magic, they've recommended amber for protection. Any thoughts on that?
Numite is lovely as well.
Numite is, but Numite has much more, to me, it has a prophetic quality, much more than protection.
But I do know
Amber is protection. Well, amber touches like prehistoric ancientness, so you could use it that way. But honestly, for me, amber's such a sex stone that I don't use it for anything else. It's so dirty and like that's how I think. But it's a personal thing for energy.
Yeah. See, for me, it's it has a history thing to it.
It does definitely have a history thing.
Yeah.
It definitely does. Yeah.
Like ancestors, history of the land thing.
Yeah. So tapping into like the stories, that kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know that I would use it for protection necessarily, personally, but
Sapphire, here's your instructions for life. What she said. Yes, self-trust is a major issue. It becomes a huge blockage and makes me think I need step-by-step instructions for life. Are you ready?
Oh, here it comes.
Step. The end. Just use your feet. You were given them. Just take a step. In somewhere. Some direction. Adapt a Sag mentality. Everything is nothing and nothing is everything. So just try it.
Yeah.
We're in Aries season. That's perfect for this.
Yeah. What I was going to say is there are no mistakes. And even if you make a mistake, no mistake is permanent unless you let it be, unless you make it. So you can always flow and flux and change and learn. It's all good. I use amber for helping depression. I could see that. It definitely has an uplift. I'm telling you, though, it's the dirtiest crystal if you use it for that. It's just like, it's seen everything. There is nothing it does not know. It's like that wisecracking old grandma crystal, which is like, yes. Okay. Yeah, we are with that second Norn. We changed the way our life threads lay in the weave. Oh, you got Norns, did you? That doesn't surprise me. Norns get involved with Valkyrie energy. So I saw my image shatter like a mirror, a release of the old self, better to step into who I'm choosing to be. Yes. Awesome. Pre-night is gorgeous. Pre-night is gorgeous. I love pre-night. Amber is Dr. Ruth. Well, seen it all, done it all.
Draven, what doesn't serve you, don't be afraid to burn the damn thing down. However, murder and arson is not recommended. That's basically what I did with the fairies just then. Like, don't be afraid to use iron, but also probably don't.
This took a really weird turn. Really weird.
Yes, my priestess necklace that I often wear in ritual has hematite and clear quartz, and it's both to ground and extend and like help me be a channel for the energy. So combos are really nice if you can find combos that work really well together and that are meaning to. And another thing also is pick up a freaking rock, any rock, and just ask it, like, are you willing to protect me? Are you protective from me? Will you work with me? Because they have a spirit. Just ask. You'll know. You'll get a feeling.
So I'm going to look for a poem to read us out as we're about nearly time because Chris has to go pick up Le Hubby.
Yes.
And I have to go get some food because I am starving. I'm just having a look at a poem that I think would be good to read us out. I love garnet. So
garnet's my birthstone.
Beautiful. Garnet is actually probably, if I had to pick one crystal, it would be for life. It would be like a toss up between garnet and obsidian. Garnet might win though. What do we want? Do we want a warrior? Oh no. No, this is the one we want that will help people and what's been going off in here. Thank you. I found my little headdress today. I was quite impressed with it. I saw a flashing silhouette that was like a picture frame looking at me. It was weird. Well, that sounds like ancestors to me. How about you, Chris?
I would concur.
It's nearly 9 p.m. in the UK, and I need my dinner. So, any good pairings for Labrador? Well, Labradorite all by itself, lady. Delicious.
Labradorite basically encompasses the energies of like the world. So maybe something on the other end of sort of
Void.
the universe or galaxy, star, void. Numite, actually.
I was going to say
nice
Numite.
for that.
Get out of my head. I was going to say Numite. She stole my thought. God damn. Is there a craft or creation we could make to connect with that Valkyrie energy? Oh, I've got my Valkyrie sigil on my wrist. There you go. There's a sigil.
Yep. And that's a combo of Joey and I.
And a poem, yes, maybe. Well, we're gonna read out a separate poem, but I've got a poem that I think will help people. But a craft or creation, you could also go with a weapon. Like if you were gonna like carve like a wooden knife comes to mind, or like something like that for the altar, like something in those lines. What's happening? There you go.
I don't.
Did you carve a knife? Is that what's happening?
My brother actually carved it for me when I was little. This is one of the first knives I danced in powwows with. Beautiful. So this was my first regalia knife. It's quite old, but yeah, it still does its thing. At this point, it's memories. Lots of memories. But yes, you can absolutely carve them into a knife.
Thank you. I love my fox too. I have the bug now. I want another one.
Another thing you can do is just use oils to anoint in those sigils as well. For instance, like Joy drew her battle paint today, right, as you can see. And I drew mine on with oils. So you can't see it, but it's there. So there's a lot of things with that you can use. And another thing is if you don't have the money for a stone, you don't have to have it physically with you. You could just call to the energy of insert stone here, Numite, and just ask it to help you. Like you really don't have to have the physical thing. If everything is connected, just call to it.
Yeah. Okay. So if everybody's okay with what we've said so far, if you've got a burning question, ask now. Here is Joey's blog. You will find the Medusa
Speaking
blog
of Numite, by the way.
I have a Numite, but she's in the drawer. So I can. Oh no, she's on the altar, and I'm not wiggling my ass at the camera just to go get Numite. So you're out of luck.
This is the voice one.
It's beautiful. I love Numite. Yeah. So if everyone's okay, I'm going to give you 2 seconds in case you have a burning question. If not, then I'm reading the poem and we're closing down so Chris can go get hubby, or I can go get food, or both. I like how I said or, like these were either or situations. Both are happening. Chris is not selling her face paints currently. You can, however, get a services with Chris if you want to talk more about the ancestors. How much do I connect Freya to the Valkyrie energy? Well, I do. I think they're very connected, personally. So I can.
Wait a minute. What? Sorry, which one are you answering? What are you doing?
I thought Freya was connected to Valkyrie energy is what I was answering. I was going to actually read.
I didn't even see that, but go ahead.
I was actually going to read the poem for Freya as we come out. So.
Well, I have a question I want to answer before you do that, if that's all right.
Go for it. Yes, there's a couple of questions.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So Lunar Seedling said, any ritual ideas for death, rebirth of self? I actually have a thing for that on my website that has 2 channeled songs, one for death, one for rebirth or birth, and a PDF that comes with it of different examples and things that you can mix and match together to represent death and rebirth, and using those together and making your own custom one. So that is actually available on my website already. But yeah.
Shungite. I don't know that I've used Shungite. Not that I remember.
Shungite is nice. Shungite.
My brain's not working, so I can't remember.
I had a friend who called it Shungite.
Shungite. That's the thing now. You're welcome.
I always have to question how things are said because my mother was someone who, like, she would focus on the essence of it, and she still does, but not so much the lettering, so she would mispronounce stuff all the time. And like she would know what she's talking about. But yeah.
I mean, okay, how do you usually channel goddess energies? That's a whole video unto itself, lady. I can't tell you in the last 3 minutes because it's a long process of trusting self. It's partly my gift. It's partly something I can do naturally that Morrigan gifted me with the ability to do. It's partly listening. It's partly connecting. It's meditation. It's journey work. It's in depth. So we can talk about that in another video going forward. But there you go. So yeah. So if everybody's okay, I will read the Freya poem in her honor as we close down the ritual. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the little sort of self-meditation. And you just got prodded for spelling Freya's name wrong. Well, we're not bleeding yet. That'll be the next thing. She'll be cutting us all for this. Right. Freya. We're going to get dirty now, just so you know. Pre-warning.
I'm just gonna leave now. Go on.
My lips part as spice and mead touch, an ecstasy of forethought, the anticipation and will to see. I stand upon the precipice of all that is known, golden and unyielding. Blood runs into the water, slaking man's lust. The finger stirs and rivers appear as voices on the wind, chanting and changing and chanting and moaning. The chain at the throat tightens, gifting the thrill of restraint. Feathers brush against bare skin, rendering sight useless. And so, take your weak imitation of beauty and burn it to the core. Flames flicker across embers. I rake against the coals. Desire is current incarnate. Blood, iron taste of death. My lips part. They come bloodied to my halls or not at all. Broken bones or bruised and beautiful, I sharpen my claws. Honey, sweet and biting raw. Power beyond measure. True women never bow or claim themselves to be lesser. I shudder with revulsion at apologizing for your sex. Take your shaming tongue and split it. Plunge it into the depths and drown. Bleed for every moment. Give it all or not at all. I see the measure of you, and if you are found wanting, come not at all. So if you want to read more about that, you can in Songs of Shades Volume 2, which is available on starryeyedsupplies.com. So, sorry, book. And as always, you can find the links are down below at the minute because I was trying to get this to work and I had to fight with YouTube. So I will make sure all the links for both Chris and I are available down below this video later tonight. You can go to CRIS for consultations, ancestry readings, death rituals, mentorships.
Yep.
Tarot, you have a tarot reading on there right now, yes?
Yeah,
so
there's also a email format tarot reading. There are channeled songs to use in ritual on there. There are there's a ritual session for fear calling and like facing fear stuff. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
And if you want
basically it's priestess work universally, like.
And if you want to find me, you can find me on www.starryeyedsupplies.com, and you can buy physical products from me. You can buy services, you can buy spell work, you can find me on Become a Living God and buy bone oracle readings. You can find me on Patreon and come with me every month. We're doing Morrigan course every month exclusively to Patreon. Next month, we're actually going to be looking at Freya, so this kind of fed into that energy for me because I'm sneaky like that. Calling Freya in, but you know. And I like that, Draven. I'm going to read that out and end this on that, if you don't mind. Thank you for that, Draven. That's beautiful. Accomplishment is on the other side of fear. You are a lot stronger than you know. I like that a lot. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you to Chris for being here. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for being so wonderful as always. I hope you enjoyed this Dark Goddess ritual of the Valkyrie. Many blessings, everybody. We'll see you next time. There probably won't be one of these next week. Maybe the week after, we'll see, or it might just be me the week after, depending on how Chris.
Well, and I actually will take this point, if you don't mind, Joey, to say why I might not be around a little bit. So my dad's death date is coming up on Tuesday, and to honor that and my feelings with that, holding space for that, there will be a period of time from basically Saturday through this coming Wednesday that I basically kind of go off to myself and do my thing. So if I don't respond to you right away, if you are messaging me and trying to get a hold of me and I'm not there, apologies, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. Most of, anyone who's had a session with me that's booked right now knows about it. So I just wanted to extend that to you guys.
Mm-hmm. So I've been doing this every 2 weeks, so we'll see how Chris feels in 2 weeks if she wants to do another one, or if it will just be me. There will be one of these regardless, because the Morrigan has told me to do them, so I am. And just to answer that question quickly, yes, Lilith is indeed a dark goddess, and you can read more about her in my course.
And we had a podcast as well on her.
We did. So thank you, everybody. We're going to go now. Links will be down below later. If not, they won't be straight away because Joey needs food desperately. It's 9 p.m. I've not eaten since 12. So I need to go deal with the starvation that's happening right now. So much love to everybody. Glad you joined us. Thank you so much. I will definitely see you in 2 weeks. Maybe Chris will, depending on where she's at. We'll let you guys know. But there will be a ceremony regardless. So thank you. May you have a beautiful weekend. May you feel healing. May you find rebirth. And may you find whatever it is that you are seeking. And remember, you're here for a reason. But don't sweat it. All good?
All good.
Thanks, guys. Many blessings.
Bye, guys.